All right, so all the wild card games have been played. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on my underdog drafts for best ball, playoff best ball. So real quick, we're going to go through the playoff games that have already occurred. We'll go through the Texans since they played last night. The Texans and Steelers. Um, Kind of a weird game. The Steelers did not play very well as expected. CJ Stroud was doing everything possible to make sure that the Texans could not win that game. He just had a really bad night. He only had one interception, but he had at least several turnovers or at least several fumbles. I wanted to say it was like four or five. In fact, let's see if it's on here somewhere. I mean, he did not have a pretty game at all. Where you at? Let's see here. Yeah, let's see. 32 attempts, one touchdown, an interception, and then three sacks. Where are the fumbles? He had some fumbles. Um, I'm not sure where it is, but he had a really rough game. He did not put up a very good score as expected since he only had one touchdown and then one interception. Let's see. I'm not finding the fumbles and all that, but anyway, maybe it's here. Sorry, guys. I've been a little sick, so I've been trying to get a little bit better. Anyway, I'm not seeing the fumbles. I guess maybe that's what it is. Okay, so anyway, I'll keep going. Woody Marks had a solid game, 112 yards. He did have a touchdown. I'll get more into that a little bit later, but that definitely made me had a have a Monday night sweat. A couple other teams I was playing against had Woody Marks, so I'll get into that a little bit later. Um, Christian Kirk was the guy last night as far as receivers go. He had nine targets on eight receptions. Eight receptions on nine targets, 144 yards. He did have a touchdown. Higgins, let's see, he had three receptions. Hutchinson had two. Nico had three. He got banged up during the game. I want to say it was the third quarter, if I recall correctly. Man, they could not keep that guy healthy. I think he hurt his head again. He had a concussion or hurt his neck or something like that. But man, I really need him to play next week. Hopefully, he comes back healthy and is able to play next week because they're going to need every wide receiver they can get. I really was hoping to get a little bit more out of him, but obviously injuries you can't really help that. So Stover had two. I'm not sure. He's a tight end. And then Schultz had three receptions as well. Um, so pretty quiet game overall as far as the receivers go and Woody Marks. But yeah, I mean, you look at the if you didn't watch the game and you look at the score, you're like, oh my goodness, it was 30-6, right? You're probably thinking, man, CJ Stroud really lit them up, and it's like, no, he really didn't. The defense here, let's take a look. I'm gonna filter it by sacks, I think. I mean, they were just all over the place. Okay, it seemed like they had way more sacks than that, but Rankins had one and a half. Daniel Hunter had one. Will Anderson only had a half a stack, and then Autry half, and then Derek Barnett had a half a stack. Oh, he's on the Texans. Oh, cool, good for him. So anyway, they had several interceptions. I know that. They only had one, man. It was a pick six. Maybe I just got too excited. They definitely had a fumble. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Maybe that's what it was. Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter had both a forced fumble, and then they also had a let's see, four fumble touchdown. Yes, they definitely had one. Sheldon Rankins. That's definitely a highlight reel if you have time to watch that. That was pretty awesome play. So Houston Texans defense is for real. They took care of business. In fact, I think I could be wrong, but they definitely outscored. The defense outscored Houston, or excuse me, the Steelers, and then they definitely outscored the Chargers. So that's pretty funny to me. Um, so anyway, let me double check on that. Let's see, one touchdown. Yeah, they had two touchdowns overall. So yeah, I mean they outscored. So pretty straightforward stuff. We'll jump into Steelers in case somebody had the Steelers. Where are you guys? Um, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I really don't expect much from him at this point in his career. I mean, obviously he had a Hall of Fame career, but I don't know how much more he has left in him. All right, so Steelers jumping in. Aaron Rodgers, he had an interception. He didn't have a touchdown, so. Obviously, that's not going to be a very good score for him. Only 146 yards. Joe Moore had the majority of the carries at 12, zero touchdowns. Gainwell, um, Mike Gainwell had a lot of receptions, so I'll double check on that. Yeah, here he is. He had four receptions for 26 yards. His longest was 12. So DK Metcalf only two receptions for 42 yards. So yeah, overall, I mean, they just got suffocated. Um, Here it is. CJ Stroud, five fumbles. He lost two of them. I mean, it was just like him and his center were just not on the same page, or just something was going on. I mean, they had at least two miscommunication type plays. So, yeah, they need to work on that. They need to figure that out pretty quickly. So, Aaron Rodgers also had two fumbles, and then he lost one. So, easily not his best game. Let's see here. Um, let's see, a couple sacks. Jack Sawyer had a sack. Benton had a sack. Anyway, I'm not sure anybody really cares too much about this. And Harmon has a sack. So anyway, that's the game. Moving on to next week, I think let's refresh this real quick. So let's see where we're at here. All right, so jumping into the bracket, we have the Broncos playing the Bills. The Broncos are favored. Patriots, Texans. New England's favored. Seahawks, 49ers. Seahawks favored. And then Bears and Rams. And the Rams are favored a little bit. So I'll need to double check on my teams and see which teams actually need to win at this point since a lot of things have changed and I've lost a lot of players already. So we'll get more into that in a second. So um, let's jump into it. So three teams that we drafted together. The first team that we drafted together unfortunately, to no one's surprise, I should say, it came in sixth place. I kind of, like I said in the other video, I kind of knew that this was not going to be a very good team. CJ Stroud only put up 9 points, like probably not going to get the job done. Same with Henderson, he only had four. A lot of the work went to Ramondre Stevenson. That's just kind of how it goes, I guess. Woody Marks is 17-20, so he performed about way better than I thought he would. And then Nico only had 360, so like it's just a rough outcome there. Higgins had 540. So like yeah, overall this team just folded very quickly. Nico Collins, of course, can't help that. He got hurt. So this was kind of an interesting team because I was going to Seahawks and Texans for the Super Bowl. That was really the goal there. Um, and I just kind of picked up players who I thought could help me out, but it just didn't work out here. So to give you an idea, the first place team that is advancing on to round two, he had Trevor Lawrence, Saquon Barkley, ETN, Josh Jacobs, Smith, Washington Strange, Reed, Dobbs, and McConkey. So he's in first place. He's advancing around two. But I mean, how many players does he have advancing? How many players can he work with next week? It's zero. He has no players on his team anymore. So let's check the second place guy. He has Josh Allen and Drake May. He had Ramondre Stevenson. Like I said, he had a majority of the work. He had Swift. And then Shakir, he pretty much has, yeah, Henry, Burden, Kayshawn, Cooks, and Dawson Knox. So he's very alive. So that worked out really well for him. Oh, I'll check this third place team since it was so close. Oh man, that stinks. But you're gonna have a lot of scores like that now. So Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Hampton, Puka, Sutton, Brian Thomas, Christian Watson. Man, he was probably hoping to get that team through. Man, that was probably going to be a really nice team for next week with Stafford, Kyron, Blake Corum, Puka. Um, yeah, he probably was hoping to get that team through, man. But that's the name of the game, man. Um, so I'm gonna keep scrolling here. All right, so I know I have way too many teams here, but this is a YouTube team too that we had together. Slightly better, 74-66 in fourth place. Came close to third, I guess, but yeah, definitely second place with 10 more points. So just to give you a comparison here, last place had Caleb Williams and Sam Darnold. He had Henderson, Walker, and Swift. Stephon Diggs, Rome Odunze, Barner's on bye, of course. JSN was also on bye, so I mentioned him. Caleb Williams had a zero for him, so like, yeah, that's just a really bad week for him. So he's, just an example of another score. So I had Stafford, Bo Nix, RJ Harvey, Corum, Hampton, both Puka and Nakua, or excuse me, Puka and Adams, sorry, Troy Franklin and Lab McConkey, and then Tyler Higbee. See, that would have been a fun one for me to advance, but I just didn't have the firepower. I guess looking back, I probably should have picked another running back instead of Amari and Hampton. I should have paid attention more to the practice reports and injury reports and things like that, and just gotten like, oh shoot, let's pick somebody else. I don't know. I'd have to find out what Kenneth Gainwell's numbers were, but even somebody like him may have been a better just advanced piece. Same thing with Lad. Um, I really thought the Chargers could just air it out a little bit. I thought they would have more opportunities in the red zone, but anyway, yeah, that's just how it played out. So we'll take a look at first place and second place teams that are advancing. So Lawrence, Purdy, McCaffrey, Williams, Tootin, Kittle, um, yeah, Myers, Sutton, Washington, and Jennings. So he's only lost a couple players, but he's still very alive. One, two, three, four. So he's lost four players, and not counting Kittle. Hey, I don't know what the official stat is on Kittle, but I imagine he's probably done. But so he's either lost four or five players. We'll see how that shapes out. But at least he has a shot. He's playing somebody next week. Moving on to the second place team, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Cook, Jacobs. Okay, so he went pretty much Bills and Green Bay, so he's lost a couple players, but he's still alive. One, two, three, four. He's lost four players, but he's still very much alive. He still has six players to work with, so he can probably make a pretty decent shot at this. So 92, 84, and then 84, 12. So not bad. All right, so you'll see some of these teams I started naming like maybe because I had a player last night that I was trying to keep an eye on. It was just so hard to track. So anyway, jumping into YouTube Team 3, we have a winner. I'm pretty excited about this one. So let me walk you through what's going on. I'm gonna go in order. This is probably the most exciting one to me that I can share with you guys. So he had Brock Purdy, Bo Nix, McCaffrey, ETN, who's gone, of course. He plays RJ Harvey next week. Same with Sutton, Loveland, Franklin, DK Metcalf, and Troy, or excuse me, McMillan, Etedera McMillan. So both DK Metcalf and McMillan are gone as well. So that's one, two, three. So he's missing three players. So he's in a fantastic spot, in my opinion. Also love the way he drafted as far as going to 49ers and the Broncos. I would be shocked. I would be surprised if the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl. But hey, you can never count out Kyle Shanahan and that offense. I just think it's so good. If they had Kittle, man, I really like that a lot. So, oh, he didn't get Kittle. Oh, so he just stopped at Purdy and McCaffrey. Who else did he get? Oh, interesting. So he's really the Broncos, in my opinion. Then he just grabbed a couple of 49ers players as advanced pieces. That's not a bad spot to be in, man. So he's going to have Denver play next week, and if Denver wins next week, then he should have a decent score there. So that's a good spot for him. All right. So as you can see, my score was 84, 88. First place was 95.68. So, as you know, first two place finishers go on to the next week. Love your mom, third place. You don't advance, buddy. But remember the other video that I was talking about how he was kept sniping my players and stuff like that. It was so annoying. So I'm gonna jump into the last place guy real quick, and then we'll jump into our little mini rivalry. So Drake May, Sam Darnold, Henderson. Um, so what it tells me is it's like, yeah, he had a bunch of New England and Jacksonville players. So yeah, what it really tells me is like a lot of people depend on the Patriots to advance, and they just didn't have the score to really get them over the hump. So I think a lot of players or users that had New England, of course Jacksonville, they're going to lose a lot of people. They just didn't have the scores that they needed to really advance into the second round. So anyway, he's done. So. All right, I'm done styling. So CT, that's me. All right, so my two players, yeah, Trevor Lawrence. I had CJ Stroud. Of course, I'm nervous about CJ Stroud. I hope he can pull it together and have a better game the rest of the way. But like, if last night was any indications, I'm very worried about it. So moving on, I had Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Bashaw Tootin. Tootin's gone, of course. So I'm missing two players right there. I have Nakua Collins, Brian Thomas. Unfortunately, he's gone. Colby Parkinson and Brenton Strange. So he's gone as well. So I think that's four. One, two. three, four. Yeah, there's four players. So I still feel really good about this team. If Nico can hang in there and come back, man, that's gonna be tough, man. I really need him to help me advance unless I just get lucky with my pod. Um, I'm really gonna need help there. Um, yeah, that's gonna be tough, man. I think he has a concussion, if I'm being real. That stinks, man. It was also like totally, completely avoidable too. I mean, I think Stroud had a concussion earlier in the year, and I think Nico had an injury earlier in the year too. I could be wrong, but I think it was a concussion too. So this is really not good news for me. So anyway, long story short, so what was happening last night? I was sweating it out because I was in this spot. Of course, I had Nico. I think this is the final score I ended up with. If Nico had passed, say, like Brian Thomas Jr., then like I could have increased my score on this one. But this was the final score. So I think I was sitting at 84, 88. Love Your Mom was actually in fourth place. So this guy was actually in third. Let's see what's going on. He had Josh Allen, Cooks, Kittle, and the rest of the Bills and 49ers, and Udunze sprinkled in. Um, yeah, I mean, he had a nice team too. So he was at 8103, but so he was pretty much done regardless. So he was out. So Love Your Mom was in fourth. He had Stafford, Love, Jacobs, Woody Marks, Devontae Adams, Diggs, Devonta Smith, Watson, and Reed and Higgins. So last night, let's just kind of recap. I had Nico. He had Jaden Higgins, and then he also had Woody Marks. Anybody else? So, I was a little nervous because I was like, man, I think Josh Jacobs only had like 5 or 6 points, and I was like, Woody Marks has a shot to, of course, score past that. So in the third or fourth quarter, Woody Marks, I think it was the fourth, he ended up getting a late touchdown that pumps him up all the way to 17-20. And so I'm like, oh man, did I just get punched out? So luckily I held on for the win. It was a lot closer than I would want it to be. But yeah, the whole game I was like Higgins and Woody Marks were gonna be the guys that like probably punched out Nico and whoever else I had. So anyway, he's eliminated. So that was a close game because like say it was 84-88 and he had 83-02. So it could have gone either way. I was very lucky on that one. So this team advances, and I'll keep you guys updated. So since I only have one team left, I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through some other situations here. Yeah, this team's done, unfortunately. Even though it was my highest score, most of these players are gone. So, I had a couple situations like that. But actually, let's do this. I found a website called PBMDB that kind of showcases your leaderboard and it kind of does your portfolio and all that. So last night I actually had 19 advancing. So this is not real great numbers in my opinion. 20 out of 90. It's like, all right, whatever. But last night I had 19 advancing, and this morning I checked it again. I had 20 advancing. So I guess somebody squeaked it out for me. So I think that team was the one I just showed you. There's a few on here that like I had no chance of winning. But let's see. See, like at this team, like I'm pretty good about like Stafford, Corum, Woody Marks, Puka, Devontae, Odunze. So yeah, it was one, two, three, four, five, six. That's six players right there. So I think that's going to be a okay team there. Hopefully they play well next week. But you can kind of see the rundown of like how many teams I'm advancing. Everything in gold is in first or second place. See, this is my highest third team, third place finish. Let's see what happened here. Um, yeah. Oh, Nico at 360. That's right. Keishon Booty had 860. So I really would have had to have somebody push out one of these 1430 scores, I think. So, I mean, what can happen? Somebody must have had a really good team on there. Let's find the lowest rated one that I have. Let's check this guy out real quick. So Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, James Cook, Swift. Excuse me. I'd jump into the lowest rated one I had. I had Williams, Sam Darnold, James Cook, Swift, Adams, Shakir, Kincaid, DJ Moore, AJ Bonner, Romo Doomsday. So everyone is still alive in this team somehow. So it's actually, you never know, man. You never know. Williams, Darnold, KW3, Woody Marks, Swift, JSN, Nico, Colson Loveland, Jaden Higgins. And I know it's kind of funny. Some of these teams, I actually kind of like some of the lower ranked teams. So Stroud. Anyway. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated. I'll probably share updates over the next few weeks. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any questions or if yeah, if you guys have anything for me. So, thank you.